Welcome to the Loudoun Now Sports Talk podcast. I'm Kurt Aschermann, and I'm the host of this podcast. And it's a place where we explore sports, mostly in Loudoun County and from many perspectives, from youth league through high school and college. Every once in a while, we have a celebrity on who was an old jock, and that's what we have today. We have a celebrity with us today. Michelle Luttrell, who is the principal at Loudoun County High School. And Michelle and I know each other from a program that we started and ran 10 years ago, Michelle?
I think so. I think it was almost 10, 2016? On 2016, maybe?
It's called Community Table of Loudoun, and you're still doing it at Loudoun County High School, which is amazing. It's a program that lost some steam after a while. And so, Michelle, we're so happy to have you on. We appreciate your time. We know how busy you are. And we also know, of course, you have a massive staff of 50 or 60 people that are working for you who can cover for you. But we know that's not the case at all.
That's not the case.
No, I know it isn't. So, Michelle, let's start with you first. Talk about you a little bit. You were quite a jock in high school and college. You played quite a few sports. I don't know, how'd you play all these sports? I don't know how you played 5 sports in college, but tell us a little bit about your athletic background.
Well, I attended James Wood High School in Winchester, and I played basketball, volleyball, and softball there. Loved that. And I went off to college, and with the commitment to play volleyball and basketball and softball again, which I did. But then I discovered that I enjoyed playing tennis. And so I picked up tennis and started playing tennis, decided to do that. And then I discovered lacrosse. We did not have lacrosse in Frederick County growing up. So the lacrosse coach came to me one day and gave me a stick. And he said, "Hey, I want you to give this a shot. You're pretty athletic. So
learn this."
Right. So he essentially stole me from another coach. I started playing lacrosse against the wall, picked it up, fell in love with it. And so I took on lacrosse.
Is it your favorite sport?
No, basketball has always been my favorite sport.
Yeah.
But I did love lacrosse. Wow. It's a great sport.
I can't imagine playing all those sports. And you probably had a very high GPA, and you were top of your class.
Academic, All-American nomination. Academics is incredibly important. So that was always the primary. Athletics came second.
As I said to Joe Theismann when we had him on the show, that we had something in common, that he won a Super Bowl and I've watched one. We have a lot in common. You were academic All-American and I just barely got out. So, because I was doing the same thing you were doing, but I was all I was concentrating on was sports. Yeah. So it's
you got to focus on
both. It's amazing. Yeah. So how many sports does Loudoun County High School have? I probably should have given you a heads up.
Oh my gosh, you should have given me that heads up. A couple dozen. We offer a pretty comprehensive program for our students here to get involved and to find something that they're interested in. We have the VHSL offerings, but we also have tiered sports. We have crew, and it's my understanding that we are going to welcome in some other sports in the year to come. Girls flag football, boys volleyball is a conversation point, and girls wrestling, I've heard, are conversation points. So I'm waiting to see what that brings to the student body. More opportunities for sure.
Well, I think you're right, because we had Derek Ferry on, who's the head of athletics for the county, and he mentioned those 3 sports that were eventually going to come, and that's good. So the sports opportunities are expanding, not shrinking. Are they equal boys and girls sports? Do you have that pressure to make sure there are as many girls sports as boys sports, or is it just kind of wide open?
It's wide open. And I think because Loudoun County Public Schools does a really great job of offering a comprehensive athletic program to the student bodies across the county. Resources and interest may change certain things, but we do a really nice job in Loudoun creating opportunities for kids to get involved.
So talk about the resources thing. I mean, do you mean financial resources to have enough money for officials and coaches and uniforms and that kind of thing? And is it all paid for by the school district, or do you have booster clubs, or how do you get a sport? How sports started? Tell us about that. How that would work.
Derek you had him on the podcast. So the school system provides a budget to the athletic directors. so that they can
Okay.
manage with equipment and whatnot. But some of the boosters are booster supports in many aspects, and one of those ways is to help with the uniform replacement cycle. So it depends. If you have a boosters that has the money to do that, then you're fortunate. Not all school clusters are the same when it comes to financial resources, which involve parents. So that's
So wait, what's a
equity point of concern.
school
So a
cluster?
cluster, so for example, Loudoun County High School is a cluster. In Leesburg, there are several high schools. And even in Leesburg, there are differences in the communities that we serve. So the economic base and what parents can
I
contribute from
gotcha.
a booster
Yep.
standpoint
Yep.
shifts from one community to the next. So that can make some things challenging in terms of having some equitable access and resources for the kids. But Loudoun does a really good job of supporting school programs. Derek's office
So
does a nice.
in the beginning of the school year, Kate Cassidy, who is your athletic director, gets a budget for all sports, or do they actually delineate how much you got for football, how much for basketball, how much for girls
That's a
volleyball,
really
or
good
does or
question
does
for.
Kate make that decision?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kate would. That's a great conversation to have with Kate if you could get her on to get her perspective. She oversees the athletic side of the house and the budgets and the hiring of coaches and how the booster money is used. The booster program does a really great job supporting all of the athletes here. But Kate would be a really great person to dive a little bit
yeah,
more deeply into that.
yeah. We're going to do that. Derek gave us a whole list of folks that we're going to try to
You
get
should
on to
talk
get a
to
better
Kate.
perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah, we will
absolutely,
do
because
that.
we live in a 71-year-old building, and we have we have the smallest footprint in terms of campus and resources and facilities, which also impacts equipment. Where can we store things? What do we have available to our
Never thought of that.
athletes? So Kate would be a really great person to speak with just from the perspective of equity and what we
So
have.
she and the coaches are juggling balls more than some of the larger campuses with the
Juggling
large
balls,
yeah,
spaces, the utilization of storage. We have to get pretty creative
fields.
here with where we store things. So,
Yeah. Do you have trouble getting coaches?
it's becoming increasingly difficult, more difficult to get folks to join on. I was thinking about that in terms of how many employees of Loudoun County Public Schools do we have coaching? So how many teachers or staff members coach? We have over 100 coaches here, and that includes volunteers. About 67+% are non-school division employees. So we
Interesting.
have a lot of coaches who have other jobs, government employees, etc., who love youth sports, who want to contribute to their communities, that become part of our team, which I think speaks to like to the need. We
Yeah.
have folks not involved in education coming in to help us so that we can ensure that we're offering a comprehensive program to our kids.
You know what's interesting? I have a personal experience with that. When I made believe I was actually retiring, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, maybe a little less than that. Yeah, I'm really retired. I wanted to help coach a baseball team. That was my sport. Baseball was my. And I went online where I had to fill out the form. And I have to tell you, Michelle, I'm a pretty intelligent guy. I had trouble getting through the form.
Yeah,
I
it's a
couldn't figure out.
challenge.
It was a challenge to get through. I wonder if that does
Yeah,
impact on.
it
Well,
probably does. And you know what else, Kirk? Something that I would like to see shift in high school sports. We hear it time and time again about coaches managing the external pressures from parents, from clubs, from all those external entities that are trying to get their hands on these young student athletes, travel teams, etc. There's a lot of pressure, and it's not always been a positive experience. Coaches manage quite a bit when it comes to external communication and pressures. And that may also have something to do with it, which I would imagine is also why we have a shortage for officials for high school
yeah,
sports.
yeah.
It's
We
tough.
had Mike Colangelo on the show.
Hmm.
Mike is the owner and founder of Stars Travel Baseball. And I asked him similar kinds of questions. And
Yeah.
I didn't even know that travel baseball coaches, some of them get paid. I didn't know that. He said in some cases they're even challenging the amount of money they're being paid versus a high school coach. And some of them are getting. So I can see where the pressure to hold on to coaches if I can coach in the summer or coach, a travel team and get paid the same amount I can for coaching a high school team. Let's talk for a second about the pressure from parents. This is Joe Theismann was really onto this. He's very concerned about parents, putting so much pressure not only on their kids, but on the coaches, as you say,
Right.
on the programs themselves. How do you manage that? I mean, do you ever have to call a parent in, or does a coach call a parent in and say, look, shut up, or you got to go, or things like that? I'm exaggerating, of
Yeah,
course.
I think that we have a really great supportive family base here at County, but there are times when emotions get high and we need to have conversations with parents in the stands who are not representing their best self and our school in a positive light. So we manage those conversations in the moment. But Kate has a communication plan in place so that parents can follow
Interesting.
a protocol, if you will, to make sure that
Right.
we're respecting coaches' time and their decisions involving playing time, etc., with our student athletes. But it speaks to a larger concern that we have in education. We did a book study last year on a book called The Anxious Generation, and it speaks to the pressures
Mm,
that kids are under these days. And
yeah.
part of that is pressure that is maybe it's an unknowing layer of pressure that parents are and families, I should say families, are putting on their kids to perform, to get scholarships, to be the best at the sport, to try to get playing time. And you start compounding students with all of these asks and all of these demands on top of a heavy academic load, or maybe they're
Yeah.
working as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
It really starts to chip away at the kids. And again, it's all part of just the concerns that we're facing in public ed, but certainly for athletics.
I just,
The pressure to succeed and be the best at whatever the cost is. We want students to enjoy competing and to have a rewarding experience as a high school athlete.
yeah.
I recall my days playing, and I looked forward to going to school because I knew I had practice that day. I had a game that day, and I loved competing. I loved the camaraderie. I loved the leadership and the followership that comes with being on a team and being a part of something that's bigger than yourself. And I just loved sports. And I want us to make sure that we are trying to hang on to that place for our students today, because everything else it's all so competitive, but not necessarily for the right reasons. And I want us to get back to that time where kids enjoy it. I want them to
And
step out onto the field and just enjoy playing the sport
I don't,
because it's awesome. Being an athlete's
and
incredible. But I feel
the
like we've
crazier,
lost a little bit of that.
yeah, and the crazier parents don't realize the pressure they're placing on their own child.
Right.
It doesn't matter, they think that they're trying to get the coach to give him more playing time, or trying to get her on the field more, or
Yeah.
they don't understand why she's playing defense and should be playing offense, and they pressure the coach. I don't think they understand the pressure that gets added onto the athlete, onto the
Right.
child as a result of that. Not because a coach would take retribution, not that a coach would
No.
bench somebody because their mother happens to be a little off the wall kind of thing, but it adds the pressure to the kid on the
Yeah,
bench, the pressure of the
does.
kid in the locker room,
It
because
does.
everybody knows whose parents are little ubats, to use a beautiful Italian expression. What's the future look like, Michelle? Which do you think? Mike Colangelo said that he felt that eventually high school sports would begin to lose more and more kids to travel sports because travel has the resources. They can hire the coaches. He said he was a high school coach for a long time. And when he went to the athletic director to ask for 6 dozen baseballs for practice, the guy looked at him like he was crazy. He said, I don't have the money for 6 dozen. So Mike seems to think that the potential could be that high school sports don't become as important's not the right word, but not the highest priority for an athlete, that maybe
Right.
travel will. What do you think?
I think it depends on our efforts right now to control and change that narrative. So if we can control the narrative and get us back to a place where we are competing and we enjoy the sport and the camaraderie, and we stop pressuring our students to make the A travel team or the B travel team or what have you, and we allow them to be kids, number one, and to enjoy the sport and to work hard. I hope that's not the case because not everyone can afford travel. Not everyone can
Exactly.
afford
That
club. It's
and we
become
brought that up with him. Yep.
it's another one of those equity things. So I I encourage parents to put your full trust and your focus into public ed. Focus on the public school system. We've got great things happening in education, and focus on high school athletics and intramurals at the middle school level, whatever it might be. Invest in the school community. They will become better athletes. They will become more talented players. Coaches are really great at building those skills, but they're going to get a whole lot more from being in a healthier, team rich environment than being on a squad where everyone's out for themselves and it's highly competitive and they're just trying to get noticed by a college coach. That's not the environment that I want for my own kids. I have 3 kids, and we're going to fully invest in the school system. We'll do recreational sports. There's so many life skills that you can teach your kids and have them be exposed to that I think maybe gets lost when you start throwing money into the mix and you
Yeah.
start pressuring kids to, at all cost, work for something that's, when you think about kids, the number of kids that go on to play collegiate athletics, it gets
Right.
smaller and smaller and smaller. And we've got to understand that it's a piece of an identity, but the percentage that go on to play professional level athletics is so small. We've just got to take a step back and enjoy the experiences that we have right in front of us.
It sounds like the cliche that it should be part of the education is true,
It
that
is.
athletics should be part of your education.
It is.
It's the part that helps you work with other kids, the part that helps you compete. There's nothing wrong with learning how to compete. In Colangelo's defense, he said there will always be a place for not only high school sports but recreational sports, and
Mhm.
that they encourage their kids to play. So, for example, if you play Little League and travel, I said to him, "What do you do when there's a conflict, when there's a scheduling conflict?" What we stress is communication.
That's
Tell
right.
us why you have to go to play there or not play here. He said there'll always be a place for it. For me, it's that sign is it's kind of like a call to arms. It says we could increase participation if we were pushing kids to play sports for all the right reasons.
That's right.
Now we're always going to have the parent, the parent who's a little bit off the wall. So you're always going to have that. We're always going to have inequity in terms of financial support, right? Some schools maybe have a better booster club. Some schools come for, as you said, in more wealthy areas of say Loudoun County kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
It's
but
all
but you're right. So Michelle, and I should have told you this in the beginning. Maybe I haven't told you this, but one of the things that Loudoun Now has done, first of all, they've gone all digital. I don't know if you know that. There's an email that goes out to 33,000 people every day. Loudoun Now has always considered itself a public service. You don't see the gotcha articles in Loudoun Now. Loudoun Now will write a story if something bad happens, but how can communication tools like Loudoun Now, this podcast and others, how can we help high school athletics?
I think, again, changing the narrative is so incredibly important right now in every facet of public education because great things happen in public schools every day. And I think using Loudoun Now as an example and helping us change the narrative, showcase all of the benefits of being a student athlete in this school system. This is a great school system. We have the benefit of building spirit and community, becoming a member of something that's bigger than yourself. We talk all the time about students having a sense of belonging and
Mm,
engaging with their peers.
mm,
If we have
mm.
someone who is traveling and playing sports, which is great, but they're not connected with their peers that they're growing up with, that they see every day in school, they're going to lose something. They're going to be at a deficit from a social standpoint. They're going to lose some of that connection that we really try to build for our kids. I think also just looking at the other benefits of leadership and character development, Loudon Now can help us out by communicating those things. Parents, here are the benefits of getting your student involved in sports in their respective high school or middle school and intramurals. Let parents know. Parents are busy. And sometimes it's hard adulting when you're a parent, to just pause and say, okay, why are we doing this? What's really in the best interest of my kid? Help us communicate that out. I think we got to get that information to parents and families from all different fronts, because there's so many wonderful things happening in each of these schools. And we want to find a way to connect with all of our students.
Perhaps it's a series of stories. Perhaps it's something that a very articulate principal of one of the high schools in Loudoun County could write, that
I think so, because we really do need
outline the
to invest
benefits
in
and
public
outline.
ed.
Yeah, yeah.
We absolutely do. We have so many great things here for students to help them figure out who they are as a person, to figure out what is it they want to do. Maybe it's not sports. Maybe it's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
else, but give it a shot, because
My
the skills that we can help our young people build through participation on a team, there's just
yeah,
nothing
a
else
shout
like
out
it.
to my grandson goes to your school, and he got the lead in the play, the school play that comes in
Macbeth,
December. And he played sports growing up, played softball, and so it's just not his thing, right?
right? And
It's
that's
not what.
fine.
But there's the opportunity here. All right, let me ask a couple of down and dirty questions. Who's your biggest rival? Who's the biggest rival? Is Valley the biggest rival of
My
County?
goodness. I think we have a few, but at the end of the day, I would say it's Valley or Tuscarora.
Yeah,
Yeah.
down the street.
Yep, right down the street.
Yeah,
But Valley's the old rival. Valley's
yeah.
the old rival for sure.
So, and I heard today that you've got quite a football team this year.
We do.
Is that
We do. We won
there's
the
a couple
district
couple games?
championship.
Yeah,
We've got a first round bye in regional play, so we'll play not this Friday, but the following Friday at home. We are expecting our team to just continue moving forward. They've been working really hard this year.
and then the regional championship is the Friday after Thanksgiving, right?
The
I think
Saturday,
I'm right
yes.
about that.
Yep.
So yeah,
So we're
so
hopeful
I mean
to
that's the
host
other
that
thing.
again.
We have the Excellence in High School Journalism program at Loudoun Now. So this dovetails so nicely with that now we're looking to push sports writers, young
Nice.
people who care about sport, and they will report the scores and maybe give a little highlight in there. And then every day at 3:00 when that email comes into your mailbox, you'll see how Loudoun County did yesterday in volleyball, or how Loudoun County did in lacrosse, that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
There's nothing better. I remember growing up and getting the Winchester Star and
Yeah.
cracking open the sports section, and you've got the listings, you've got the scoring leaders, you're celebrating young people who live two doors down. It's a really great thing to do. It builds
And
community,
it's
celebrates kids, lifts them
sure.
up,
And
feels
people
good.
want to see their kid's name in the newspaper too.
Yes,
I
they
mean,
do.
who
Yes, they
doesn't?
do.
They want to see that as well.
Yeah.
Well, Michelle, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate all the time you gave us. We did go longer than we said we were going to, and we knew we would because we talk a lot.
Yes. And we love
And
sports.
and we love sports.
Yeah.
I just had no idea. How do you play 4 sports in a season? I don't know how you did that.
Well, I had to make some choices. I had to make tough choices, but at the end of the day, just love sports, love what it does for kids. So anything you guys can do to help us promote that.
Well, we're a partner.
It's
We're going to be a
appreciated.
partner, can become more of a partner going forward. Michelle Luttrell, thank you so much for being on the podcast. If you know someone you think we might want to talk to, just send an email to loudonnowsports@gmail, and we'll take a look at that and see who else might be coming on the podcast. Michelle, thanks a lot.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Thanks for being with us. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back to you with new interviews very, very soon. In the meantime, keep swinging.
Take care.